What if your idle computer was quietly worth more than your day job right now? That's not a hook I'm making up. That's literally happening inside the Pi network ecosystem today, and I'm about to break down every piece of it. And welcome back to Crypto Educate channel. Before we get into it, hit that like button. Drop a subscribe if you haven't, because this analysis covers staking numbers, licensing news, mining rate shifts, and a technical chart. Read that you genuinely don't want to miss. Let's get into it. First up, staking. According to BSCN, their Pioneer Brief application is still sitting as the most staked app inside the Pi browser ecosystem directory. We're talking over 925,000 Pi staked on that single application. According to BSCN, this puts them ahead of Resonant Mini, which sits at roughly 703,000 Pi staked. Now here's my read on this. Staking inside the Pi ecosystem. Directory isn't about earning protocol rewards. There are none. It's about visibility and ranking. So when an app pulls in nearly 1 million Pi locked up with zero yield attached, that tells you something about trust and community behavior, not about return chasing. People are staking Pi on Pioneer Brief because they want it ranked higher, not because they expect a payout. That's a different kind of signal than what you'd see in DeFi staking. And I think that distinction matters. Question for you watching right now. Would you stake Pi on an app, knowing there's no reward attached, just for visibility? Drop your answer below. Next, let's talk licensing, because this one's been building for a while. According to Quang Hien, Pi among the exchanges that just secured licensing in Europe under the MiCA standard, which officially takes effect for legal operation is starting July 2026. 3 major players from that list also appear on Pi Network's KYB roster. According to Quang Hien, Pi Gate has confirmed they're proud to have passed both MiCA and what's being called the Pi license, which is really just Pi's KYB process, being referred to informally that way. Meanwhile, Binance is still in the queue waiting on MiCA approval in Europe. My take here, this is worth watching closely. When an exchange clears MiCA, that's not a minor regulatory checkbox. That's a full framework covering custody, disclosure, and consumer protection across the EU. If Pi-affiliated exchanges are clearing that bar while Binance is still waiting, it tells you regulatory positioning inside the Pi ecosystem is moving faster in Europe than some of the bigger global names. Does that change how you view Pi's KYB partners? Let me know what you think. Now let's get into mining rates, because this is the part that's got a lot of pioneers talking. According to Amaron Chain, the Pi mining rate just moved up, and the numbers back it up. Previous rate was 0.002191 Pi per hour. Current rate is 0.002417 Pi per hour. That's roughly a 9% increase. According to Amaron Chain, this follows a 4.1% increase back in June, meaning we've now seen 2 consecutive monthly increases after a long stretch of decline. Here's my analysis on this. Mining rate on Pi has been a one-directional story. For a long time, it only went down. 2 increases back-to-back changes the narrative. It suggests the algorithm isn't just on a fixed decay curve. It's responding to something, whether that's network activity, node participation, or some internal recalibration ahead of a bigger phase. I'm not going to speculate wildly on what that bigger phase is, but a shift from purely declining to actively adjusting is not nothing. Are you seeing the increase on your own mining rate? Comment your before and after numbers. I want to see if this is consistent across the board. Let's move to price action, because according to a chart breakdown from Crypto with Gopal, Pi is currently forming a rising wedge on the 15-minute chart. Here's what that actually means in plain terms. Price is making higher lows along a lower trend line, with support sitting around 113 cents to 114 cents, while resistance sits up around 116 cents to 117 cents. That's a tightening range, which usually signals decreasing volatility and pressure building for a move. Now, a rising wedge can break either direction, and according to the chart, a prior wedge on the same asset actually resolved downward. So this pattern doesn't automatically mean bullish. My analysis, if Pi breaks above 0.117 with real volume behind it, the next targets sit around 12 cents to 13 cents in the short term. If it breaks down below 113 cents, you're looking at 11 cents or potentially lower. RSI is sitting neutral right now, so volume is going to be the deciding factor here, not momentum alone. Looking further out toward December 2026, a range-bound scenario between 10 cents and 18 cents is the base case, given ongoing token unlocks and adoption pace. A more bullish scenario tied to Mainnet progress. and new exchange listings could push toward 25 cents to 40 cents by year-end. A bearish scenario could see price dip under 10 cents. None of this is guaranteed. Pi has a circulating supply north of 10 billion tokens, and that kind of supply level puts a real ceiling on price appreciation, unless demand genuinely surges to match it. Keep an eye on Bitcoin correlation too, because Pi doesn't move in a vacuum. Where do you think this wedge breaks, up or down? I want your prediction in the comments before the next candle closes. Now here's something a lot of pioneers are sleeping on. According to Amber on-chain, OpenMind Fabric is now live on Pi Desktop. This is not a roadmap promise. This is a running framework. Right now, that turns Pi nodes into a distributed AI. Compute layer from your home computer. Breaking down what that actually includes, there's one-click local AI deployment, meaning you can run models like Gemma 2 26B without needing to be an engineer. Your data stays on your own machine during processing. There's an OM1 runtime paired with the Fabric protocol, built around a build once, run anywhere, approach across Pi's global node network. And this connects to over 420,000 nodes, representing more than 1 million CPUs that can now support real AI workloads, from image recognition to robotics training. Here's my analysis on why this matters. Pi has always had a node infrastructure problem, in the sense that a huge number of nodes exist, but aren't doing much beyond basic network security. OpenMind Fabric is effectively monetizing idle hardware, turning dormant computing power into something with actual utility in the AI compute market. That's a real commercialization play, not just an ecosystem app. Would you actually turn your node into an AI compute source? If it meant earning from it? Let me know if you're going to try running this. Let's close out with a major exchange update. Binance is re-entering the Philippine market through a regulatory sandbox after the country's Securities and Exchange Commission granted final approval to Blockshoals Technologies Inc. to begin testing crypto-related financial products and services. This comes after Binance ran into regulatory trouble in the Philippines back in 2024 when the SEC said the exchange was operating without the required licenses and asked local authorities to restrict access to the platform. Binance co-founder and chief customer service officer Yi, he confirmed on X that the exchange has officially entered the Philippine market again. According to the SEC, Blockshoals received final approval to begin testing under the Commission's Strategic Regulatory Sandbox framework after completing all remaining regulatory requirements, building on initial clearance. The company received last year for its Stratbox application. Under this approved framework, Blockshoals operates under a crypto asset intermediary model, allowing users in the Philippines to access selected products and services through its global crypto asset service provider partner, which is Binance. According to the SEC, the first phase involves a 90-day systems integration between Blockshoals and its local virtual asset service provider partner, after which Blockshoals moves into the next stage of its approved testing plan, including onboarding users through Binance, while complying with SEC oversight and safeguards. My take here, this is a controlled re-entry, not a full comeback. Binance isn't just walking back into the Philippines with the same access it had before. It's operating through a sandboxed intermediary structure with a defined testing period and regulatory supervision. That's a much more cautious approach than what led to the 2024 restriction, and it suggests both the exchange and the regulator learned something from that situation. Do you think the sandbox model becomes the new standard for how major exchanges re-enter markets they've been restricted from? This video does not constitute financial advice or a recommendation and should not be treated as such. Always seek independent financial guidance from a qualified and regulated professional before engaging in any investment or financial activities. That covers everything for this analysis. Staking numbers, MiCA licensing movement, the mining rate shift, the technical chart setup, OpenMind Fabric. Going live in Binance's structured return to the Philippines. I appreciate every one of you who watches these breakdowns and takes the time to engage in the comments. It genuinely helps this channel grow. If you found value here, go check out my other videos on this channel. There's more analysis waiting for you there. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.